It really seems like everywhere you look these days, someone's showing off some new ink, your friend, your coworker, pretty much your entire social media feed, right? In a world where tattoos feel like they're the new normal, what does it actually mean to be the one with blank skin?
So, if you've ever felt kind of like the odd one out for not having a tattoo, hey, you are definitely not alone. It's a super common feeling, and it's actually tied to this huge cultural shift that's been happening over the last couple of decades. I mean, just look at this number. A staggering 46% of all millennials now have at least one tattoo. That's nearly half of an entire generation. So, yeah, when it feels like everybody has one, it's not just in your head. Now, here's what's so interesting about all this. We spend so much time analyzing why people get tattoos. We talk about the meaning, the rebellion, the art, but we almost never flip that question around and really ask, why do some people choose not to?
And the answer, well, it's way more complex than just, oh, they're afraid of needles or they just can't pick a design. The choice to stay tattoo-free is often rooted in some really fascinating psychological concepts. So the key thing to get is this isn't just about avoiding something, it's about a whole different way of thinking.
So let's start with our first big idea. And this one has everything to do with our relationship with time, and more specifically, with the person we haven't even become yet. Psychologists have a term for this. It's called future self-continuity. And for some people, the person they'll be in 10 or even 20 years feels like a completely different individual, almost like a stranger. And if you have that weak connection to your future self, making a permanent, unchangeable choice for them today feels, well, kind of irresponsible, right?
This quote just nails the mindset perfectly. It's not about indecision. It's actually a really profound, future-focused way of thinking. It's this deep awareness that our values, our passions, our entire personalities can, and let's be honest, they often do, change dramatically over a lifetime.
And that leads us right into our next big point, which is all about the very nature of who we are. This is what you might call having a fluid identity orientation. So if you see yourself as a work in progress, someone who's always learning and changing, then getting a permanent mark can feel like you're hitting the pause button on your own evolution. It's like trying to capture a single frame from a movie that's still being filmed. But okay, here's where it gets a little tricky. There is a super thin line here, isn't there? On one side, this mindset is all about a healthy embrace of personal growth. But on the other, well, it can sometimes mask a deeper fear of self-definition or even commitment. It's a really fascinating internal tug of war. All right, our third reason. This one dives into social strategy, that keen awareness we all have of how we're seen by the world. The technical term for this is impression management. It's basically the idea that we all, to some degree, manage our own reputation. And people who are naturally high in this trait tend to be very strategic about the signals they're sending out. So for them, a tattoo isn't just a piece of art. It's a permanent part of their public story. They're thinking about how a future boss might see it, or how social norms could totally change again, and ultimately, how it removes a little bit of their control over how they present themselves in different situations down the road. And that brings us to our fourth and final reason. And this one might be the most profound of all. We're talking about a conscious, personal philosophy. So what's really cool here is how it frames this whole debate. On the one hand, you have the view that identity is something to be expressed outwardly, through symbols. But then there's this other belief, that identity is a purely internal state of being. For this group, unmarked skin is a very deliberate choice, almost like minimalism in design. And this quote just says it all, doesn't it? The deepest loves you have, the most formative memories, the very core of who you are, they don't need to be etched into your skin to be real or valid. They exist just as powerfully inside you. Okay, so let's pull all four of these threads together. What does this all really tell us about the choice to stay ink-free? Well, as we've seen, the choice to be tattoo-free isn't empty, and it isn't passive. It's actually a really complex decision that's shaped by how you perceive time, how fluid you see your own identity, your awareness of social dynamics, and sometimes a deeply held personal philosophy. So here's the big takeaway. Our culture has increasingly pushed this narrative that ink equals meaning. But the absence of a tattoo doesn't mean an absence of identity or attachment or depth. It can mean that those exact same things are simply being held and cherished internally. And that leaves us with one last thought. And this one is for everyone. Whether your skin is a canvas of incredible art or it's completely blank, maybe the most important question isn't what you chose, but why you chose it. Is that choice a conscious, authentic reflection of who you truly are?